Hello, and welcome to class. I'm Dr. Greg Parsons, and this is the Week 2 assignments for DBA710. Now, I would like to point out that this week's assignment is not that lengthy in terms of the amount of reading and work you've got to do. However, it's a key element in terms of teaching you how to write and read scholarly material, and that's going to be my focus for this particular week and this particular lecture. So, let's get started. This week we have 4 articles, the readings, a threaded discussion, and then also a short paper. So let's take a closer look at the readings for this week. We're going to be building upon what we talked about in week number 1 with regards to the history of management and the various contributors to it, to look at a little more specificity about what managers do. And we'll also be investigating a question that people just love to talk about, which is what is the difference between leadership and management? Are they one and the same? Is one a part of the other? Are they totally different? Can a leader be a manager? Can a manager be a leader, and vice versa? So these will supply some background for you in terms of addressing that issue, but also seeing the different perspectives that people have written about and researched about these two related yet somewhat different subjects, leadership and management. So those are the readings. They're in the library. Okay. Some people had a little trouble finding my references from week 1, and part of that was just due to the fact that I was a little sloppy and didn't get the article titles exactly right. If that turns up to be the case again, don't wait a long time. Don't spend a lot of time searching. If it doesn't show up when you search, these are all coming out of the EBSCO host database. If you search on the title and it doesn't show up and your spelling is correct, there's something wrong. So let me know as soon as possible about that. Okay, so that's the readings. And the discussion topic is going to be based upon those readings. And you're going to be defining the terms management and leadership in your own words. And you're going to be providing examples from your own experience to illustrate those definitions. Now, because this is week 2 of a 2-week post, this does not have to be the full 800 words. This does not have to be littered with extra references, although for what you're trying to do here, you may want to use references, okay? Because the phrase in your own words doesn't really mean I want to hear what you think about management and leadership. I want to know what the experts think about management and leadership. Okay, so this is an exercise in looking at these articles and looking at what different people are saying about these two terms, and then building up a definition, but based upon what other people have said. It's not that I'm not interested in what you think it is, but I'm really interested in your ability to pull together what a lot of other people have said about it to create a definition that is based upon the available research. Okay, and this is really the key point of the doctoral program. The thing that people have to realize, and the earlier you realize it, the better, is it's not that we don't care about what you think, it's that you're just learning the subject, and people have been studying these subjects for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And we really want you to understand what has come before so that you can build your own perspective on the expert's perspective. And I'll talk a little bit more about this when we get to the paper. Okay. So we also have a week 2 paper. It's a fairly short one, 3 to 5 pages, and here we're looking at challenges that will confront managers in the 21st century, especially in a globalized world that we now live in. And I want you to use some more peer-reviewed articles outside of the reading list, and then apply it to a real-world global company, somebody that we'd be familiar with. A Microsoft, a Coca-Cola, a General Motors, a General Electric, anyway, some company that operates across national borders, deals with different languages, different cultures, and explain how the challenges would have to be addressed by a company working in that sort of an environment. And the paper's got to be in by Sunday. The keys to academic writing is you use the literature to build the foundation for your position. In fact, that's where you start. When you know what your topic is, what the subject is, this time our discussion topic is going to be management versus leadership, and I've supplied you with some articles to start with. And the second topic for the paper are challenges to management and leadership in the 21st century. That gives you a fence or a general idea about what the topic is going to be that you're going to write about. Now, but you don't sit down and start writing your opinion of it, what the challenges are or what the definitions are. You immediately go into the library and start doing some searching on what other people have written about the subject. So you start with the literature. And you read, and you analyze, and you synthesize what the published authors are saying. You simply don't want to say, this is what this author said, this is what this author said. What you want to do is take a combined view of what the publications are saying to say one of the major viewpoints or perspectives on this subject is based upon so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and they seem to come to the conclusion that this is true. However, other people, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, come to a different conclusion, and they're saying this is true. From these various positions, you start to form your own idea about what you think the predominant feeling is and how your own evaluation of the data leads to your conclusions. Okay? And this is tricky. This is not what you're used to doing, but this is what we're trying to train you to do. Your position comes out of the ideas of others. No matter how much leadership or management experience you don't have 1,000 years of experience that others have spent studying the subject. So you want to use what others have already done. Why reinvent the wheel when somebody has already done it? But you need to know where the wheels are. When we talk about critical thinking and originality, it's going to be not your ideas, it's going to be the way you combine the ideas of others. How you interpret and synthesize what others have said is going to be the way that you exhibit originality. Of course, when you're referencing, you need to indicate where it's coming from. All important. And when it comes to direct quotes, where you take a piece of writing directly out of an article, you put it in quotes, you reference it, and you say, well, isn't that the best thing to do? No, it's not. Actually, using direct quotes is to be avoided unless there's no better way to say it. Really, again, your job at this stage in doing your research and doing your writing is to find ways of saying, condensing what other people have said in a more usable fashion for your particular purposes, what you're trying to prove or disprove, what you're trying to say. So don't use direct quotes all over the place. They're allowable once in a while, but avoid them if possible. So just to give you an example, this is actually from one of our articles for reading this week, and you'll notice how the article starts, and it doesn't start with what the authors think. It starts way back in early times about what the philosophers thought about leadership. So it mentions Aristotle and Plato, talks about Confucius and some of the writings that these various people did. So immediately the article starts out with, this is a long subject, there have been a lot of people who've talked about it, and then it gets into more recent work over there where it's talking about there's a common confusion that leadership is similar to management and leaders are similar to managers. Well, this is one frame of thinking. Okay. The next one says there's a growing interest of scholars in differentiating leadership from related phenomena such as entrepreneurship and management. So one of the trains of research is to try to pull things apart and say, well, they're not all exactly the same things. However, some scholars argue that they're opposing sides of employee supervision, and they're both popular. However, still others believe that they're two sides of the same coin, and that there's really no particular distinction. It doesn't gain us anything to try to say that they're totally different. Okay, and then there is a quote here, but that's because the authors decided this was a good way of saying this, and rather than paraphrasing it into something else, they say, Mangum and Pye say it results in nothing more than a vague feeling that management is something rather mundane, looking after the nuts and bolts of the enterprise, and leading, well, that's something special and precious undertaken by the really important people in the enterprise. Okay, so these are leaders, and they're great, and these are managers, and they're kind of sweeping up after the elephants walk by. So again, this is the way that you build your definitions for the discussion post. This is the way you build your challenges for your paper. You know what other people have written about it, and you paraphrase and reference them. So the keys to success for week number 2. Well, you want to use the literature extensively. The more you can use, the better off you'll be. And as I said in week 1 in the overview, learn to catalog this literature, because if you're working in this, going to be working in this field, you're going to need these references in future work. Rather than quote people, direct quote, synthesize what others have said. You need to understand what the authors of these things are trying to get at. And if you understand it well enough, then you can put it in your own words and combine it in ways that have not been done before, and that's where the creativity and originality come in. When you build your definition or come to your conclusion or make your point, this has to be based upon what the others have said. The more authorities, the more authors, the more literature you can add to your argument, the stronger your case is going to be. And if you think of it like a lawyer, a defense attorney, or a prosecuting attorney, how do they build their case? They build their case upon evidence. What the attorney thinks really doesn't matter. That's not what the jury is interested in. The jury is interested in seeing, what does the evidence say? What do your witnesses say? What does the forensics say? That's considered the important information to building the case for or against the particular defendant. The personal opinion of the lawyer doesn't really matter. His job or her job are to put together the evidence and the witnesses in such a way that they make their case. That's exactly what you're trying to do here. Okay, I think that's about all we need to say. Again, we will be working with this same concept throughout the class. And so if you have any questions about what I'm talking about here or how you're going to get to it, please let me know. Use the Ask Questions, use phone call, use email. And I'm going to leave you with something a little more settling before you start this week's work. So enjoy. And until next time, goodbye. Good luck. See you next week.